TV 17. From East Vale to the Canyon, the Valley's only local news station. At 6, noon, and 6, your news is on TV 17.
Some ski industry officials are up in arms over this ad. We'll tell you who and why. The I-70 corridor monorail has been revived. The most famous cameraman in skiing finally says goodbye, and an update on hunting season, all just ahead. This is your news on TV 17. Hello, I'm John Edwards. Budget Rent-A-Car has shifted a national ad campaign into reverse following a scathing letter from Vail Resorts CEO Adam Aaron. Aaron was responding to an ad placed in recent issues of Time, Outside, Skiing, and Ski Magazine showing a wayward skier implanted in a tree with a line reading, "Rent 3 times, meet menacing tree. Rent 4 times, see menacing tree coming." Budget offers a free pair of goggles after the 4th rental. The copy goes on to say, close encounters with immovable objects are not fun unless it happens to somebody else. Then it's hilarious. Budget CEO Sandy Miller was the recipient of the letter from Vail's Aaron, who wrote that he was horrified and astounded by Budget's insensitive, tasteless, and highly offensive advertisement. Budget was asked to pull the ads. They did, with an apology to Vail Resorts. Another letter to Budget from the president of the National Ski Areas Association, Michael Berry, said the print piece was a badly timed reminder of skiing accidents that killed Sonny Bono, Michael Kennedy, and others in recent years, putting the entire industry in a bad light. Berry saying, to say the least, the ad is in poor taste. A spokesperson for the Ski Areas Association also suggests the Budget ad greatly exaggerates the dangers of the sport. Budget has issued a statement saying the advertisement was designed to convey a humorous message. This isn't the first time Vail's been the focal point of a controversial print ad. Absolute Vodka has just settled up with a resort company for that one that showed a leg cast in the shape of a vodka bottle and said, Absolute Vail. Meanwhile, life in the mountains goes on as we make the turn into the winter season. Management at Beaver Creek is pleased to have the Beav picking up another award right off the bat this fall. It's the Good Skiing and Snowboarding Guide Award from the British publication that reviews over 600 resorts worldwide, naming Beaver Creek the North American Family Resort of the Year, based on outstanding service to visiting skiers and snowboarders during the past season. The timing couldn't be better because Beaver Creek celebrates its 20th anniversary in December with special events and entertainment to be part of the World Cup downhill and Super G races scheduled on the Birds of Prey. Between now and then, the U.S. ski team, along with Austria, France, and other European national squads, will be hitting the slopes at the Beav for special training camps. But for that, we'll need more of the white stuff. And the snowmaking guns have been running at both Vail and Beaver Creek, with openings for public skiing set for the 17th of this month. The mountain crews like to have it at least 28 degrees or so to shoot the artificial flakes, and Rod Feasanton has a look at the forecast for tonight. Will it be cold enough to put some more down, Rod? Thanks, Rod. There's no sunshine in the forecast for Leo Layla. He's still sitting in the Eagle County Justice Center lockup, waiting to go to court on charges of racketeering and theft. Layla is charged with reselling 11 stolen vehicles with the help of Avon Automotive and Maderos towing owner Louis Maderos. Maderos is accused of towing the cars from Colorado Shuttle Service, obtaining false title for them, and then letting Layla resell them to unsuspecting customers at bargain prices. The vehicles in question remain in impound as evidence. Maderos is out on bond awaiting his day in court, but Layla still does not even have an attorney or the means to make his bond, which is set at $200,000. It's likely the court will appoint a public defender to take on the case, which has been delayed 3 times, as has the return of the cars and vans to their rightful owners. Vehicle traffic is becoming a headache for the town of Edwards. We'll find out what might be done about it next, while the dream of an I-70 corridor monorail may come true after all. Stay with us. TV 17 News continues. The latest U.S. Census Bureau numbers offer no surprises to those of us who have been witness to the continuing westward growth in the valley. And Gypsum is reported to have the biggest increase in people, with population there growing 7% between 1998 and 99. up to 3,028 full-time residents. By comparison, Avon only registered a 3% growth increase during the same time period, coming in at 2,671 persons, and Vail's population dropped by about 2.5% to 3,028. These figures have to be taken with a grain of salt, though, when comparing them to the annual winter influx that at least doubles or triples the number of folks in the resort areas. During the high season, Vail can boast a population exceeding 15,000, not to mention the huge crowds that show up for World Cup and other special events. Another batch of updated census returns for the Valley are expected to be released by the end of the year. Growing concerns over traffic congestion in Edwards have prompted a group of citizens and the Eagle County Commissioners to take a good look at creating ways to solve the problems that loom for the Valley's fastest growing area. Some of the issues identified in a recent work session include the need for traffic lights at the entrance to Arrowhead and the Eagle River Village Mobile Home Park, a revamp of the Highway 6 intersection in downtown Edwards, and a replacement of the Cemetery Road Bridge. The Edwards Council of Governing Entities, a non-government group of concerned citizens, hopes to make progress with the county commissioners and Colorado's Division of Transportation to ease growing pains that are sure to come as the population base in Edwards continues to expand. Funding from CDOT for the improvements in the Edwards area is currently on hold due to a lack of local matching money. New property taxes and bond issues are two mechanisms under discussion to generate the about $1.5 million that will get more traffic improvement projects rolling. As always, the county would like to hear your comments and ideas. The phone number is 328-8372. If you've ever been caught in the après-ski logjam of cars on I-70, you know something needs to be done to improve our access to Denver, and vice versa for those who are coming up into the mountains to spend their tourist dollars here in the Valley. Everyone seems to agree that the gridlock's got to go before it gets even worse. But that's where the debate picks up steam and the fight for federal funds becomes hotly contested. A proposal to test a high-speed monorail was knocked off the table by the Colorado State Legislature and Governor Bill Owens last spring, but President Clinton now has signed the 2001 Transportation Appropriations Bill, which authorizes $4 million for just such a development. The Colorado Intermountain Fixed Guideway Authority wants to build an I-70 corridor monorail transit system serving the Central Rockies, and this new funding will make it possible to construct a full-scale prototype, conduct planning studies, and do needed design work. An initial demonstration line, originally planned on the hill between Dillon and Frisco, is now proposed to include a 24-mile stretch between DIA and Union Station in downtown Denver at a cost of $300 to $500 million. The entire line, stretching from DIA all the way to the Eagle County Regional Airport, could cost upwards of $4 billion. You and I may get to vote on the go-ahead for the Denver phase of the project as soon as this time next year. Next on TV 17 News, a true original packs up his career. And you'll get Rod's complete Valley forecast when we come back on TV 17.
You're watching TV 17 News at 6, noon, and 6 from the Valley's only local news station, TV 17.
You know, it's been said nothing lasts forever, but longtime Vail local, filmmaker, and skiing icon Warren Miller seemed to be an exception to that rule.
Some things just defy analysis. Man's come up with all kinds of theories and formulas, though, to forecasting the weather. No matter what you call it, it still comes out as the applied chaotic theory. And I quote, "In every given, there's a finite amount of chaos."
Following a move to Montana this past year, the man with the unique speaking style who built a small movie dynasty featuring his favorite sport has finally announced his retirement after a half-century of filmmaking. Although Warren Miller will keep doing some limited narration of Miller Entertainment's films, his son Kurt and Peter Speak, who have pretty much been running things for the past 10 years, will be continuing on without him. As will the annual Ski Club Vail benefit Mad Mountain Marathon ski race next spring on Vail Mountain. He first strapped on a pair of edgeless pine boards in 1937 at the age of 12, started photographing skiers just 10 years later as a ski instructor in Idaho, and now says he's looking forward to being able to finally hit the slopes just for fun, without having to hold a camera between his legs. Warren Miller will be a hard act to forget. especially for the many hundreds of us who over the years managed to survive the some 100-odd gates of his Mad Mountain Marathon race course on Vail Mountain. We'll have our memories, that's for sure, and of course the photograph that Warren was nice enough to take with each and every contestant. Now let's do some time travel with Rod Fessenden, who's going to project you into the future from the TV 17 News Weather Center. Thanks, Rod. The months before the opening of Vail and Beaver Creek have dwindled to days, and trucks chaining up at the bottom of Vail Pass have become a familiar sight. Craig Struve puts the hammer down with some comments on winter driving just ahead, while Jeff Butler will be along with an update for ATV riders, and you'll get the latest on that wacky Colorado Survivor game, all just ahead with more Rod Fessenden Valley weather on TV 17. Now that winter has finally arrived, motorists are making the 11th hour scramble for those snow tires, windshield squirter fluid, antifreeze, and a pair of comfy winter gloves, which are always good to have. Those gas pump handles do get cold. But it seems, despite all our previous experience with inclement weather here in the high country, some of us just don't seem to make the transition to changing our driving for the conditions very gracefully. Avon Police Officer Tasha Dobbs has a few reminders that may keep you from having a close encounter of the automotive kind.
People fail to see that as wintertime comes on and roads start slushing up and icing up, that they need to take an extra step back from the vehicle in front of them so that they allow themselves a little bit more stopping time. Another thing that people need to take a step back and think about is consider the fact that just because the speed limit on the interstate is 75 doesn't necessarily mean that it's safe to drive 75 miles an hour when the road's in icy conditions like this. Beyond that, remember to keep good snow tires, operating tires on your vehicle. Most commonly, we see a lot of SUVs off the road because they've gained extra confidence as to, oh, we've got four-wheel drive, we can take the road, we can go as fast as we want. When in reality, with the top heaviness of an SUV, they're the ones that tend to roll sooner than, say, a low compact car. So it's important to remember that just because you have a four-wheel drive doesn't necessarily mean that it's safer for you or it's more effective for you to drive fast or at high rates of speeds on the interstate.
Officer Dobbs also suggests you keep jumper cables, cold weather clothes, an energy bar or two, and some water in the car just in case you get caught out in a storm. And whatever you do, stay off that cell phone when the roads get slick. Now let's share the road with TV 17 News General Manager Craig Struve.
Craig's comments do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the TV 17 or TV 8 staff, management, or ownership. If you have a comment for Craig, call TV 17 at 845-0340 or email tv17news@colorado.net.
Rod Fessenden has been reviewing his data, and he's ready to give you a new snapshot of the Valley forecast from the TV 17 News Weather Center. Thanks, Rod. It's been a mixed blessing for hunters, some 60,000 of them now in the high country, combing the countryside for their quarry, some loving the winter tracking, others frustrated by the difficult travel conditions. A foot or more of snow in the higher elevations could create a migration of animals to the lower elevations, and that might make it a banner year for those hunters who do stick it out. Anyone who's been in Colorado's mountains during big game season no doubt noticed the proliferation of all-terrain vehicles. But while it may appear that anyone can use off-road vehicles any way they want, TV 17's Jeff Butler tells us there's some new regulations and ethical considerations to ponder.
Hunters and others who use all-terrain or off-highway vehicles had better take the time to unravel and translate the rules and regs pertaining to these machines. This year, for instance, it's illegal to carry long guns or bows during the big game seasons unless they are in fully enclosed cases. They must also be unloaded in the chamber and magazine. The intent of this new rule is to prevent hunters from using these vehicles to chase or hunt big game. It was and still is illegal to hunt or harass wildlife from any motor vehicle. ATVs and OHVs have to be registered as well, either with Colorado State Parks or in another state. Last year, more than 46,000 vehicles were registered to residents and an additional 7,000 to non-residents. Hunters and others must be cognizant of where and in some cases when they can use off-highway vehicles. It's illegal to use ATVs in a wilderness area, and our national forests and Bureau of Land Management have differing restrictions, so it's best to check with the Land Use Agency about closures and other regulations. With the Colorado Division of Wildlife, this is Jeff Butler for TV 17 News.
As everyone at the new TV 17 continues to work hard to put together our broadcast, we'd like to know what you think. So please share your comments online at tv17news@colorado.net, or you can reach us 24 hours a day on the phone, 845-0340. The drama continues in Keystone at 25 feet above terra firma. The Colorado Masters Survivors contestants are still literally hanging out in a small alpine gondola trying to win the $20,000 grand prize that goes to the last person who can stand it and can be stood by the others who vote somebody out once a week. And for Ryan Hall, this gondola ride to nowhere meant a chance at the fleeting glory of first tracks of the year on Keystone Mountain. After spending more than 100 hours in the 16-square-foot gondola cabin, Hall used one of his breaks to catch the chairlift for a quick run with dozens of other snowboarders and skiers. The contestants are allowed to take 5 15-minute breaks throughout the day. Hall used 2 of his breaks to make that mile-long run down Keystone's intermediate trail, Haywood. The first to go of the original 5 was Rex Rexon, 86th by his gondola mates for not being a team player, followed by 26-year-old Denver stripper Tanel. About 2 weeks to go, 3 remaining contestants, only one $20,000 prize. In the meantime, Hall's mom will continue to keep tabs on him via the webcam on the Fox radio station's site, thefox.com. The other survivors include 23-year-old Denverite Kimberly Dickey and 30-year-old Durango resident Jamie Manzanares. We'll keep you posted. For Craig Struve, Rod Fesman, and all of us here at TV 17 News, I'm John Edwards. Thanks for watching. At 6, noon, and 6, your news is on TV 17.